Hey guys, welcome to STA Farms. I'm Brandy and this is Erin. So 6 weeks ago, we got these meat birds as day-o chicks. We kept them in our garage in the brooder for about 3 weeks and then we moved them outside and now they're on fresh pasture in the poultry netting.
In this video, we're going to show you exactly how we made that transition, what we look for at this stage, and how you can get your meat birds from week 3 to processing day.
So we kept the chicks in the brooder in the garage for about 3 weeks. And then we moved them outside to the hoop coop and kept them in the hoop coop that we moved along the yard for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, we would move the hoop coop daily. So once the chicks got big enough in the garage in our makeshift brooder to move outside on pasture, we moved them out in the hoop coop, but we didn't turn them out. They couldn't get out of the hoop coop. And we'd keep feed and water in there for them, and then we'd move them every evening. Because if we didn't move them every evening, their chicken litter and manure we just didn't want them laying on it. It was just better. We had to move it every evening.
Right. So what we look for to be able to put the poultry netting up to turn them out on pasture is basically their size. And that is one of two things. They're getting too big for the space in the coop, and then 2, they're big enough that they're not going to go through the holes in the poultry netting. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this netting has holes in the bottom or in the whole thing. And believe it or not, even the bigger chicks can go through some of these holes once they get spooked. So we ended up putting up our netting. We put the netting up here alongside our garage. We started at this side of it, and it goes all the way and kind of makes a circle. It goes behind that tree and then comes back over to this side of our garage. It gives them about 180 feet diameter that they can free range on.
Yeah, so we really like this poultry netting. We got it from Premier One, but you can get poultry netting from Tractor Supply or just wherever. And it does really good as far as keeping chickens in a confined space and also keeping predators out. Now this netting, you can get it in various sizes, but it is 184 foot in length. You got a chicken?
I got you.
All right, let it down, please. It's 184 foot long. So you make your square, your circle, or whatever, and the whole length of it, it would be equal 184 foot. And it, what?
He kissed the chicken.
Oh, okay. This area here is fresh green grass. And we will be able to keep them on here. If we continue to get rain, we might be able to keep them on this same spot until processing day. Wouldn't you think, Brandy?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, but we might have to move it. And if we have to move it, basically we'll just take up one side and make a circle or a square to the other side.
What you got there?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Roger.
Oh, Elijah. Sorry.
This in the Roger.
Okay, guys, as you can see, these Cornish crosses, they're looking really well. Now, the Cornish crosses, they are designed to eat a lot and to grow very quickly. So these chickens are about 6 weeks old, maybe a few days older than 6 weeks. And as Casey can tell you, he's picked up a few for us. How much you think one of them would weigh? You don't know? I'd guess them probably around, most of them around the 4 pound range right now.
Only 1 pound?
1 pound, maybe. But for the most part, of course, they're all going to vary in size. You're going to have the smallest ones and compared to the biggest one. But a good average, wouldn't you say, Brandy, probably around 4 pounds?
Probably 4.
Yeah, and that's at 6 weeks old. And we like to take ours to 10 to 11 weeks. We found that works best for us and the way we manage it because of how we feed, as we discussed on how we feed. So, yep. And as you can see here, Casey will hold it up. The way these birds are, they don't have very many feathers on their stomach, but that's just how they are. But they have plenty of feathers on their back. So that don't mean anything's wrong with them. They're just designed not to have that many feathers. One thing we have found by keeping them out on pasture is we seem to have less health problems. they seem to do better. Now, we don't like for ours to grow extremely fast. We seem to have more losses when that happens. But keeping them out on pasture, especially out of their manure, it works really, really well. And as you can see, they get around. Now, these Cornish crosses, they're not going to be flying and running from you really fast. They can't hardly do that. They're so fat, but they're still getting around good and everything.
So they're actually kind of hungry at the moment. This is our typical feeding time.
Poppy.
And they have gotten used to us. They have gotten used to us, and they know that we are the keepers of the feed. So here in just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and get the feed bucket and feed them. This is just an old gutter that we use, and we pour the feed into it. And what this does is, because we don't give them free range in the feed, is this kind of gives us a way of pouring out enough feed that all of them can get over here and eat at. And it lets all of them have access to it at once.
Yeah, that way, yes, that way, when we have them in the hoop coop, we feed them in that round feeder, and that works well. But when they get to this size and you've got 30, I think we have around 28 chickens now. You have 28 that's just gathering around the feeder. They don't all get to eat. It's at least not at the same time. This spreads it out, and it just seems like they do a lot better. Okay, so I have got the fence box here. It is a solar box. Now, we will be changing this out here in a few weeks because I'm going to actually need this over for the cattle at Mom and Dad's. But we have an electric box that we can plug in to our garage, which is right here. As you can see, we got it right next to the corner of our garage. So I've got to get the T-post driven, and then I got to get the box grounded and get it hooked up to the wire for it to be ready. So let's get that done. I tell you what, 4 inches of rain in the last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4 inches of rain last 3 days. Sure makes it easier to step these in and drive them. But by the middle of summer, whenever we go to move this fence, it's not going to be the easiest to step in, but we'll make it work. So this solar box here, it's got settings on it that tells you the season, and that's where you have it set. So I have it for summer, which just means it's facing more up like it is. Now, full disclosure, this is not necessarily the best spot for this because of that tree there. However, it will get plenty of sun to keep charged, and this isn't a permanent place for it. In about 2 weeks or so, I'll be moving this box over to my parents' house because I'll need it over there, and then we'll move an actual plug-in box over here to keep this thing electrified. The reason I'm putting it here is because this is the shortest path for us to be able to feed and water. So our feed bowl and our water bowls and all that's going to go right here. And in order for it to be able to get in here and do that, I want to be able to turn the fence off. So instead of having the fence down the other end, having to walk down there and turn it off, then walk all the way up here to be able to get in there to feed and water, it's just easier to put it up here, even if it's not the most ideal location. But it's plenty, by it being summer, it's plenty to get charged up. Okay, so now I'm going to get the ground on here. Then I'll need to get the wire for the fence, or what we call the hot wire. Okay, so now, since this here, let me show you here. Since this is all mangled up from Brandy hitting it with the lawnmower, what I'm going to have to do is attach it lower. So I'm going to come down here, probably to this one right here, and then I'll wrap it around. And I can't hold the camera and do that, so I'll do that, then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I don't know how well it's going to show up, but I have it wrapped around here, and then I have it wrapped around multiple places right there. So this electrified netting at the ends, it actually has spots to connect the wire to, which is right here. And normally I would connect it to that, but since it's at the end, I can't have my solar box that close to the garage because then it would not get enough sun. That's why I'm wrapping around in multiple places there. So when we hook the regular electric fence box up to it, it will go, the hot wire will go to that, and then it'll make a better connection. Okay, so that has the solar box hooked up. I believe Brandy is over here getting them fed and watered.
I got this one. Bobby, show them this one. Show them this one. This one don't have any pokies on it. Whoa, I'm about to drop him.
Yeah, let him down.
Oh, take it down. Nanny,
What?
I dropped one.
All right. All right.
Scoot over, baby.
So this was actually 4 scoops tonight. So the reason I commented that this is 4 scoops tonight, we only feed these chickens so much each day. And
so they can get healthy and strong.
so they can get healthy and strong. So we only feed the chickens a limited amount each day. We don't want to give them open range to a feeder with feed in it, because if we did that, they would sit and eat all day, and then we would have more health problems out of them. So we use this long gutter here as a feeder, and it lets all of them in here and have access to the feed at one time. They like to scrunch up together, but there's enough room that they all can have access to it.
Okay guys, so that is how we raise our meat birds on pasture. So guys, listen, we really hope that you've gained something from this video, and if you have, we'd really appreciate if you subscribe, because we'll have at least one more video coming on week 6 to processing day. So, and you don't want to miss that. We'll go through how we take care of these, what all it involves, and how you can keep your meat birds on pasture for some really good quality meat. We'll go into all that in a future video.
So if you haven't already, guys, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.